so he can get her to her right hand.
Straight steal of home.
Coming to you live from wherever the heck Jeremy wants to bring it to you from. This is Live with 55. What is up, everybody? Sorry about that. We faked you out with the intro there. Welcome to this week's episode of Live with 55. I'm your host, Jeremy Wahman. And today we are going to, we're going to talk a little bit about what's been going on this weekend, some obvious things, some maybe not so obvious things. First off, I wanted to bring in with me because I don't normally get to have him on the show with us, but he was free today, and we appreciate it. It's our guy, co-host of the Cardinal Sports Zone podcast, when he feels like showing up, Wes Brown. Wes, what's good, man?
Nothing much. Just dealing with a 2-year-old right now, as you can see.
Hey, do you not have a hat or a brush or anything?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Are we clowning?
Sure.
It's Black History Month. Don't come at me like this.
You know what? Your hair looks fine. I'm sorry. Then joining us, our normal Live with 55 Sunday morning co-host, is our guy, Jeff Left.
What it do?
And last but not least, the Uber super producer. And he gets some FaceTime today because Wes Keys is late. And I'm not letting him in the room now. So it's our guy, Tanner Hickman. Tanner, what's good, man?
What's up, everyone? Doing well.
Not much, chilling.
My dog.
Let's get the chat room fired up. What's up, Cashmere? What's up, Dwayne? Want to give a quick shout out. We were walking into the Troll Pub last night because we're going to go to Bear Nose because that's like the best place to go down there, in my opinion. And we walked in at 6 o'clock. It was me, my wife, and then Mr. Late, Wes Keys. We were all together, and we went to Bear Nose, and we walked in at 6 o'clock, and they were like, hour and a half wait. We were like, well, we can't do that because we may not get to the game in time. So we strolled over to the Troll Pub, got in a little bit quicker, had some good food, and as we were walking in, a guy walks up to me and is like, hey, I'm one of your premium subscribers on the YouTube channel. Corey, the Buffalo Bills fan. I'm like, oh, Corey, what's good? I had recognized his face, but man, I'm horrible with names now, man. Since all that stuff with my health and stuff last year, my brain been cloudy AF for real. But I recognized him. That's what you have to do. If I look like I recognize you when you're out in public, just tell me your name because I recognize you, but the names just be going by. So, but anyway, Corey, shout out to him. Antron, what's good? Yeah, what's packed? Should have said what's up. I was there. You were the only person in the whole Troll Pub that didn't come over and say hi to me. I had like 11 people come up and say what's up, and you were not one of them, Antron. So I'm kind of upset. But it was packed all the way up and down. The bar was packed. The little walls that go into the bar was packed. The main dining rooms were packed. Had a good time, and it was definitely a precursor of what we were going to run into last night at the game. We'll talk about the basketball game today. Anything else y'all want to talk about? There's no time limit. This is not like a wrestling match where it's a 2 out of 3 falls, unless Xavier falls down 2 or 3 times. This is no time limit, so we'll be on here as long as y'all want to talk. That's what we do. That's the service we provide for you all. So as I was explaining to Wes, what we do here on Live with 55, I get a couple of personal topics I want off my chest, and then I let everybody else just take over and talk about what they want to talk about. Y'all have watched this show the last few weeks since we've restarted it. You know, Tanner, he's our stat boy. So anytime we have a question, he throws those answers. You wouldn't even tell because you can't even tell. He just throws them in so slick into the group chat. And then we look smarter than we actually are because we just read them off like they ain't sitting there being wrote. So we definitely appreciate him. I talked to for those of you all that don't know, Tanner also does some stuff with a site in town called State of Louisville. Shout out to my guys Jacob and Presley and Alan and all those, Brian, Trent. I don't want to start naming names because then I'll forget somebody and then I'll have a DM later to be like, you forgot me on purpose. And I really did. Vince, what's good? I was talking to Jacob the other day. I was like, man, y'all got a good one there with Tanner. He's like, I'm glad. His exact words were, I'm glad you're letting him talk a little bit. He's starting to open up a little bit, get out of his shell. And, that's what we need. And I was like, yeah, man, I appreciate y'all letting us use them. He's like, well, it's always good when you have people that are in demand. And that's true. And that's why I always try to do what I can for everybody else, just like I did for Jacob and Presley when they first started, just like for everybody. Because I had a really good, didn't mean to get off in this tangent today, but it is what it is. When we started Cardinal Sports Zone 13 years ago, 12 years ago, we had Mike Lynn, you all might know as Crumb's Revenge. We had Blankenbaker, which back then he was a face. Now he's a heel on radio. And our guy Mike Rutherford, like three of the best in the game, and kind of like put their arms around me, Justin, and Steve, got us up and moving, and that's why I've tried to do that for everybody I could since then. So shout out to them, the forefathers, and much love. We appreciate y'all. Dwayne, you want to talk wrestling? We'll talk wrestling here in a little bit. But look, here's what I want to talk about first. Last night, Cards get a big. They don't just win; they win big. We score over 100 points. Wasn't it 101-90, or was it 101-90? Because they scored a bunch of points at the end.
101-92.
92. Okay. We still tried to give away the game in the last 5 minutes, like we have all year. This time we actually didn't. W.L. Weller, let's celebrate. Best game in 3 years. It was a really good game, and it was our second ACC tournament win against a second. It wasn't like the bottom feeders. We've beaten Miami and Florida State now. Shout out to Brandon watching in the building. Let's go over here to these quick stat lines for y'all, and then I'll let y'all go crazy. Tyler Johnson last night, 27 points, 11 assists, 6 rebounds. Almost T. Will-esque, if you will. Only player this year in Division I that has achieved that exact stat line or better. 4th in 8 years versus a Power 5 foe. So only 4 times in the last almost decade has anybody got 27 points, 11 assists, and 6 boards. First 20-10-5 rebound game in Louisville men's basketball history. Most points by ACC freshman this year. In last night's win, we had 4 players with 18 or more points, which that's really what impressed me. Brandon dominated the first half, but he ended up with 29. Tyler with 27. C-Will with 19, and Mike James 18. And I think somebody told me that 14 of his 18 came from the line, which is really, gosh, man, he had at least 5 opportunities at AM1s last night that he just was like that close to getting and didn't get them. 14 points from the stripe, huge. First time since February 1st, 1989, Tanner wasn't alive. I'm sure in 1989 he looks like he's 5.5. That's a good thing. And one last thing, one last stat line. Brandon Huntley Hatfield with 29 points and Tyler Johnson with 27 became the first duo at Louisville to score 27 points in the same game since Larry O'Bannon and Taekwon Dean. They did it against Charlotte in 2005, which your boy was sitting in the exact same spot. It was a different building. But me and my brother were there in attendance for that game. So I'm thinking I'm going to have to go to every home game down the stretch so I could do my job as far as helping out with the W's. But here's what – first off, shout out to our girl, Sydney Smith. She is not feeling well, and we want her to get well quickly. As you all could see on Twitter, no matter how she feels health-wise, she was still quick to snatch a wig on Twitter. Which we love about her and we appreciate her. But I want to ask y'all a question because I noticed this. And again, I talk to certain people every day pretty much. So I already knew this. But as I watched the game, it became more apparent to me. So I'll go with you. Wes, did you watch the whole game?
I got glimpses of it, but my dad was talking about like it was like the best thing ever in so many games because like him, he's a Cowboys fan. So it's how they talk about the season. When pro season comes up, they get disappointed. He was disappointed, but he was extremely happy about this game. So it was good to he was telling me about how they're playing defense, how they're moving the ball and stuff like that, which I was like, I didn't get to see. I only got a glimpse of it. So
well, playing defense is very, very generous, seeing that I didn't see a whole bunch of defense last night at all. John Lindemann says, hi, y'all, on the way back from Lowe's installing the dishwasher. We didn't even know all that. And then our guy, Welch502, what's up? let me get back to the live stream so I can see if anybody else has joined us there. And all right, so here's what I noticed. And after I mention it to you all probably will say, "Oh yeah, I did notice that." Did you all notice how precise all of Tyler's passes were last night? Like it's almost like he knew where they were going to go. Well, there's a reason for that because once again, as he did for the Duke game, as he did for the Miami game, and as he did for about half of the non-conference games last night, Nolan had the scout for this team. So he knew Coach Smith. I call him Nolan because that's my friend. But Coach Smith had the very, very not so humble flex, but it is what it is. Had the scout for the game, knew exactly where they were going to be at all times. It was the scout was so good that even Zan Payne looked like an All-American at times. Put Zan in a pretty good position. Yes, very good point by our guy WL. Well, his real name's Brent. They were so precise that Brandon Huntley Hatfield caught them. I don't think I can disagree with you there. Defense was poor. Let's see.
Like I said, I'm just going by what my dad said. I was like,
I think it was 50-50. They did have 18 turnovers or something, 19 turnovers, but they still let a lot of stuff. They gave up a lot of layups. So they got some steals. They was in the gaps, but they still gave up a lot of layups.
Yeah, I have been a big proponent all season using those big words that our offense hasn't really been that bad this year. It's been our lack of defense. Justin, what's good, man? I still think that this team is a good team. It would absolutely not shock me for them to win the rest of the games. It would not shock me for them to lose the rest of the games. They're very, very highly inconsistent, but I think that we have a lot, and I want to watch what I'm saying because I know a couple of the parents watch, and I'm definitely not trying to throw any kind of stones whatsoever. Excuse me. But this team plays like what you would think a new age basketball team would play like. Like we're not – I don't think it's any secret that a lot of us know that it's just different playing sports these days than it was when we were growing up. Like we had to fight for our spots. We were told that we had to run laps if we did something wrong. Kids these days be like, you tell them to run laps and they look at you like you're stupid. They're like, you run laps. So it's like it's crazy, and we've got a couple of divas on the team this year, and I don't think I have to point that out. I think y'all know. Our guy Brent, Weller says being so shorthanded they couldn't really attack the driver too aggressively. That's a very good point. We could not be as aggressive defensively. However, we weren't really aggressive defensively when we had our full allotment of players at the beginning of the year either. However, I keep playing devil's advocate with myself. We're still a young team, but we were much more inexperienced to start the season. So this is what, when we all tell you all to wait to the end of the season when the team starts to gel and stuff, this is the type of, and trust me, I know there are still glaring insufficiencies here, but they looked last night like they finally believed in each other. Like everything started to click. You could tell if you watch really closely on the TV broadcast, you could see, and I was sitting right behind them, like 2 rows back. You could see KP turn to Nolan and tell him, "You call this, you call that," and I loved seeing that because that made me feel like he had a little bit more faith. No, regardless of what happens here, whether he's here or he goes to the NBA or whatever the case may be, Nolan is one of those guys that we're going to sit here in 10 years and be like, that guy was on our sideline at Louisville. Just phenomenal talent. Fantastic. I had to run 100 Churchills for playing the song I Love Rock and Roll on a boombox during warm-ups. Okay. Cashmere says we had good paint and inside D last night. Pause. Need more of it. And, shout out to Josh, Glenn, Charles, our guy Abdul, who's working on a customized 55 championship title. Sir, don't forget to talk about your new. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm talking about my new. I don't have it yet, and I can't wait to show it off to everybody. But if you all, any kind of, whatever y'all want, if you all have any kind of like if you're a wrestling fan like me, or if you just want to get one made, I'm glad he said something because we normally don't promote that on this show. We do on all the other shows, but Cap Go Championship belts, our guy Abdul will hook you up 20% off if you mention Cardinal Sports Zone. They can create one like one of them you see behind me over here. These are all from WWE Shop because I didn't know him when I bought all these. But he is currently making a customized one that's got all kinds of. It's Jeremy and Louisville all just like embroidered into one. So I can't wait to see it. Abdul, shout out. I appreciate all your hard work. Jimmy Blair says we should still punish players for messing up. Great point made by our guy, Tanner. 22 points off of turnovers last night. You're going to win every game by getting 22 points off a turnover. You'd have to try really hard. You'd have to play Tennessee to lose a game. Sorry, that was a different team. But look, I think that there are some brighter days ahead for this team as long as they can build on this. I also noticed that the team played a lot looser and everything went a little bit more fluid without Sky in the lineup, which I did not like seeing that. I did like seeing us play better. I didn't like seeing that it was because the tempo had been changed. They shot 80% from the free throw line. Okay. We shot 80% from the free throw. Or they did. Okay,
We did.
We did shoot the free throw pretty well last night. So Red State says go Cards. John says so. It's full of your pictures. I don't even know what that means, John, but you're very short, so I'll forgive you. But yeah, just a good overall game. Jeff, I'd like to get your thoughts on what you saw last night from the big win. And to you, so two-part question. What did you see last night that you liked and didn't like? And then secondly, are you convinced, and I don't blame you if you're not, because this team has given us no reason to think they could be consistent, but is this the start of a winning streak? I know I'm going to say a taboo word here, but winning streak. John, your mom, how about that? So not full of my picture. My belt's just full of like all my different brands that I represent. CSD Podcast, Ringside Podcast, the Big 55 logo. So Jeff, back to you. Sorry, those 2 questions. What did you see that you liked and didn't like? And then has there been enough to make you think that we could win 7 out of the next 9 to finish up the season?
So what I liked last night is I liked a lot of things. I'll say one would be that we finally had more than one guy contribute. We had about 4 with Mike, Curtis, Brandon, and Tyler. And that's been one of our big problems is we've only had games where 1, maybe 2 guys score and everybody else is kind of just hurting the team. And then finally you've seen what a full 40 minutes looks like of what they can be whenever they play well. What I would say some things that I didn't like was probably I love the way KP substituted in the first half, and I think he called some really good timeouts. But in the second half, I think he kind of got lost in the game again. And instead of inserting when he went small, especially when we struggled all year rebounding from the free throw line, you got to put Manny back in there to go ahead and secure that rebound. And then also it was a point in time where they were struggling getting the ball in, and they almost got a 5-second and turned the ball over 2 or 3 times, and he could have called a timeout. So that there, I mean, it was kind of good seeing in the first half, but you can just kind of tell that's where he's still young as a coach. And also somebody else should have told him to call a timeout, but then again, he probably ain't even listening to him. So I would say those 2 things. And I think this is what I really think about. If they could win, what'd you say, the 7 out of 9?
I think we have 9 games left.
And so 9 wins would put us at, what would that put us at?
7 more would double us. We'd be 14, I think, and 14 and 16.
This is my honest opinion. with how everything's going on and considering the circumstances with the team being hurt and players not being able to play, I think if he gets, I would say if he can get 12 wins, I would say.
Let's save that. Let's save the KP is around for year 3 talk for.
Oh, okay.
Let's just is there so the second part of the question,
Well, can they win 7 out of 9?
Feel like that we're gonna keep things going.
Yeah, I feel like we could. Just like you said, we couldn't. I think this is what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that now, just like how last night, this goes back to another thing I was wanting to say I like. The night before, Trey White had 29 points. And in the post game press conference, they said what's been the difference from you sitting on the sideline, and he said he's learned to not press in so much into scoring and to kind of let the ball move and trust his teams. And you've seen that last night by him only taking 2 shots after scoring 29 points and not really forcing it. So I think if Sky can kind of see that from the sideline and understand about moving the ball, and everybody grabs what they can do or their role on the team, then I think they can. But if they go back to trying to shine individually, then they're probably going to lose.
Wes, what about you? I know you. So can I put your business out there a little bit? I'm not trying to give like your banking information, but your occupation, is that cool if I talk about your occupation?
It's all good.
If it's not, just say it's not. Okay. So
Wes, it's all good.
It's cross country drive.
We would have a discussion.
Listen, I'm sorry. You told me earlier I needed to shut up because it was your month, so I'm going to do that. I follow directions.
It is our month.
Look, no arguments here. Listen. So Wes drives across the country for a company that will remain unnamed in case he says something crazy and they get in trouble. So you don't get to watch a lot of the games, but you do get to listen to a lot of the games. And most of your input is from reading on social media. Do you feel like that for the most part, this fan base has been fair with their frustration and their assessments? Or do you think they've kind of went off the deep end? Because to me, it feels like there's a couple people in Louisville media that like to carry around pitchforks and light all this on fire. And for the most part, I believe our fan base, well, first off, our fan base, the majority of our fan base aren't even on social media. It's only diehards like us, and then the crazies that get on there, same ones that listen to sports talk radios. That's not a large sample size either, but they will lead you to believe that their opinion is the only opinion, not opinion, that there is. So how do you, as somebody that doesn't get to watch a lot and isn't as connected social media wise as the rest of us are, what are your feelings on this year's team? And let's go ahead and kind of transition into the last topic for basketball anyway, year 3 of Kenny Payne. Do you feel like year 3 would be warranted with everything that's went on? Because you're a freshman. The reason I asked you is because like me and Jeff and Tanner, we're like entrenched in social media 24 hours a day. So we know what the general consensus of Crazyville is. You're kind of naive. You're fresh. You don't really have all the poison that we have in our head. So that's kind of why I want to get your opinion on a possible year 3 of Kenny Payne.
Well, for me, it kind of comes to a comparison which you can't compare this coach with that coach. But I thought about another coach that just we all watch college football. We know who watched the national championship. You see how bad Coach Harbaugh was getting it when his team wasn't winning and everybody just wanted him out and stuff like that. I think it's coming into that, but there are a lot of frustrations because after 3 years of watching the same thing, things need to get better. Things need to change. Something needs to happen. And it's either you are doing your job or you can get out. Now, this is year 3. Now, I'm not saying
This is year 2. It feels like year 15, but Kenny's only been the coach for a year and a half.
We was just weak the year before with Chris Mack as well.
And Wes bounced out. Where's he at? There he is.
I don't know what happened. I lost connection. Sorry.
You're good.
But for me, if it's year 2, year 3, you're definitely on the hot seat because you can't keep having this kind of season over and over and over again. Sooner or later, it's going to be. If you're not doing your job, in most normal jobs, if you're not doing your job, what's going to happen? You're going to get a report. You're going to get told, hey, you need to do better, or you're gone. And at the end of the day, this is a business. And I get we all want to win. We all want our team to win and all that stuff. Trust me, you've seen how I am in Louisville games. I want our team to win. I want our team to dominate. I want our team to have that edge that we used to have that we don't have now. But it's getting to a point where some things just don't work out. Kind of like relationships. You get in a relationship, you're like, oh, we're good in the beginning. It's a honeymoon phase, stuff like that. Then all of a sudden, real stuff starts to come out. You start to notice real things. And then guess what? You got to let go. And sometimes, I mean, and don't get me wrong, Kenny Payne, I think Kenny Payne's a wonderful person, stuff like that. But when it comes to coaching, it's like, I can't. It's like somewhere down the road, you have to come to a point where it's like, hey, you a good person? You ain't a good coach at this point. You ain't a good coach for us. And then do I think you need to fire him after year 2? No. I don't think you should be like, oh, he needs to go. Stuff like, I don't know how long you should give him, but 2 years ain't enough for me. And being on the outside looking in, like you said, y'all all entrenched on social media and stuff like that. I ain't had a social media in like 2 or 3 years. So I'm just hearing what everybody else is saying and then getting to watch some of the games. And it's like, what are we doing? And then it's like people just need to be honest with themselves. Be like, hey, I may not be the coach for this, or he may just need a few years to get that balance into his system because it could go either way. Like now it's sucking royally bad, but
Yeah.
But you never know. Next year we could be the opposite and go 25-3 and stuff like that, make it easy, all that stuff. So anything can happen. It's just that right now it's not looking good. And do I think their frustration is warranted? I think their frustration is very warranted. On the team needs to get better. We need to have a better team. But when it comes to firing somebody, not yet. But he is on the hot seat. He's definitely on the hot seat.
Oh, his electric blanket has been on since he got here. That's for sure. I'll go to the chat line real quick. Our Mossy Oaks property, Hart Realty. That's a lot to say, but I'll say it because they pay us for it. But I'm still out and about. I know I'm fired, and so is AT&T for terrible service. That is the artist formerly known as Podcast West. He's now talk. He also says Jeff is taking my job. I'm recovering from a long night. I
got you, Brody.
I had to give him that. We didn't get back. We probably about 11 o'clock, and then he was like, "Well, I'm about to go out to Bardstown Road to hang out." I'm like, "Okay, I see what you're about to do tonight." Our guy John Lindemann, the shortest man alive, says, "Did KP have them do a full practice yesterday?" That I do not know. I do not know that. Normally, I do. That I do not. Bradley Harris says 12 to 14 wins equals a year 3. I don't disagree with that. And also, if you all haven't been paying attention, Carter Knox did set his commitment date for the end. I believe it's the last day of the regular season. You're wrong about that, but it has been long rumored. I say rumored because I can't really say where I've heard it from. It's a rumor that if Carter Knox does commit to Louisville, that means it's a guaranteed year 3 for Louisville and the Kenny Payne experiment. Listen, I also get people's frustration with this is Louisville. You can't learn on the job at Louisville. You can't do this and that at Louisville. But we've not been that Louisville in 10 years. The Louisville that everybody gushes about on social media is like, oh, we're a blue blood. We have blue blood. We were a blue blood. We've had blue blood potential, but all these scandals and stuff has tore us down. Does that mean we should settle for 2- and 3-star recruits? No. We're still, at the end of the day, we're still Louisville. But it's going to take us a little bit to get everything back up and running. And despite all of his faults, by not listening to who he should be listening to, it does appear as if things have gotten better the second semester of the season as opposed to the first semester of the season. And you got good people like Nolan Smith and Josh Jameson and Big Danny up there trying to do what they can. Josh Perez, not Josh Perez.
Justin.
What's his name?
Justin, I think, ain't it?
Justin, I said Josh Jameson, got tongue tied. So like I'm willing to get. Here's what I'd rather him get a year 3 than for us to have to talk about Chris Beard beating his way, no pun intended, top 25 teams and taking a job here, because I'm not so sure he doesn't leave for Lexington when that job opens up. I don't want anybody here that treats us like a stepping stone. I had enough of that with John L. and Charlie and all of them. Master Yoda in the house. What's good, Yoda? What's up, CSD family? Lindemann says expressing frustration is fine. It's when they get personal that's going too far, which they do a lot. Everybody just showing love for Yoda. He ain't been in here with us in a long time, so show him some love. Red State says, I think any coach should get 3 years to turn a team around. And seriously, Kenny's year 1 was basically a mulligan because he wasn't really able to do much. And that is a great point, as Ali says in the next comment, because, and look, I know y'all don't want to hear it, and I know there's also a portion of the fan base that's out there. It's like, Kenny's your guy, so you're being more lenient with him than you would anybody else. No, if you all have been in our private DMs, I pretty much have said for about the last 3 months, it's time for him to grab the shipping boxes, pack up, and do better, as Wes would say. But I also sometimes falter to listening to all the negativity. I try not to fall victim to that, but sometimes it's just like, man, just forget it. Just get him out of here. Let's go ahead and bring the next guy in, and then when he's felling in 2 years, y'all be ready to get him up out of here too. That first year though shouldn't have even been that hard because he was operating under the threat of a ban, of a 2-year ban. They were telling him you're getting a 2-year ban. They were telling him, I think it's okay for me to talk about this, and if it's not, I'll get yelled at afterwards, but it is what it is. It's better to ask forgiveness than ask permission, I fully believe. But we were recruiting A.J. Johnson from Texas, and he had given us a silent verbal. And then his representation was called by Nike, and Nike told them, hey, they're getting a 2-year ban. You don't want to go there. Wasn't the only player they used that tactic with. There were multiple other 5-stars that were led astray by that line, and we're possibly looking at a different Louisville. What's up, Zay? Chilling? You're freezing a little bit. Multiple other 5-star prospects that were swayed away. You hear people say, "Oh man, we don't use NIL. We just got the 5th-ranked recruiting class with Trenton Flowers, even though he didn't come here. Dennis Evans." God bless him. Hope he gets better. Tylor, which is about the best 4-star I've ever seen in my life, I feel. Still a little rusty on the edges, but it is what it is. Caleb, 5-star. Curtis, Fringe 5. He was top 75 player. Sky, Trey, both former 5-stars. Like, that's like, what else do you all expect from an NIL budget that for this year was only $1 million? We got all those players for $1 million. There are mid-major schools in the NEC that have $4 million basketball budgets for NIL. We did all that with $1 million. So I don't really want to get on my high horse and start preaching Kenny should stay yet. But here's what I will say. I agree with Jeff. I agree with Bradley. Dude's got to get to 12 wins for the morons. For your skeptics to be willing to give him another chance. I don't know what kind of. Okay, we are getting blitzed here by a certain guy. Brandon says 4 schools in the Big East have $3 million or more to work with in NIL. Let's get down to that in a second. My phone just started pinging. We got Shelby. What's good, Shelby? What's going on, fellas? Hope y'all are having a blessed Sunday and go Cards. Jay Bell, great point. His biggest issue, even with the most ardent supporters, is that he changed the roster, and even before the injuries, it looked the exact same. Just a few glimpses of good basketball. We'll see how that goes. Shelby, once look, all you gotta do is you want the tag belts. Me and my brother, you find a partner. Let's face off. I ain't against putting them on the line. It is what it is. Red State, he was definitely coaching with his staff last night. Bingo. If you were watching it on TV, you could see. Well, I saw it close up, but if you were watching on TV, you could see at multiple crucial times during the game, he looked over at Nolan and deferred to him. That's all I've wanted to see all year. Jay Bell says Louisville basketball isn't Louisville football. It still gets you feeling the same type of way. And then our guy Brandon Bender jumps in the chat. Kenneth Victor Payne, baby. Cardinal fans, are you ready? Big off season ahead. Jeremy knows what time it is. Basketball, 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 basketball. Salute and some other weird face. I don't emoji. So it is what it is. And then last but not least, when we get caught up on this chat line, after the Bowen incident, we should have left Adidas and went Nike. Agreed. They were guilty. Patino was exonerated, and it cost us the best AD in college. Red State, I appreciate that. I don't disagree. Okay. That's cool. Hey, look, it is a boom, that easy. If the list that I'll just tell y'all this, and once we get done with the show, we'll talk a little bit. Y'all can stay on. We'll talk a little bit more. But if the list that Brandon sent me the other day, as far as players of interest, is correct, guys, buckle your seatbelts because we'll go from a 14-win team to a 25-win team just like that.
You talking from this year or next or 25?
For the season coming up. Water under the bridge now, though, Red State. Yeah, absolutely. I don't disagree, Jay. It's the kind of recruits. Look, you all can say, oh, he's not done a good job recruiting. His first year, he didn't recruit nobody, but he got the 5th-ranked recruiting class in the country. Well, this year sucks. We don't have a commit yet. Well, we do have T.J. Robinson. He committed. And they were only going after one other high school player. And if we land him, he went 2 for 2. So what can you really say about that? And I told y'all, if y'all watch CSZ podcast, when we came to you live from Orlando in October, I gave you all the recruiting blueprint. Carter Knox, 4 or 5 grad transfers. That was it. And a lot of you all were like, oh, there's no way we'll only go after one. You're crazy. You don't know what you're talking about. Look, the facts are the facts. Bender knows what he's talking about. Nolan, Kenny, I keep doing this, but I talk to them regularly. I know what I'm talking about. It is what it is.
I've been saying we was gonna get Carter Knox.
That it just is what. Thank you for wearing shorts last night and representing those of us who enjoy comfortability. I didn't wear shorts last night. I normally do, but I wore some. There must have been another handsome dude look just like me out there at the game last night because I did not have on shorts. I wanted to wear them, but my wife was like, "You got to wear sweatpants. It's gonna be 30-something degrees when we leave." And I'm like, "Whatever. It ain't gonna be that cold. I don't never get cold." And I was shivering on the way back to the car. So glad I listened to her. Dexter in the building was good. Either way, I'm fine. If we hang on to Kenny and we could turn this around. Yeah, Welch, me too. I like normally people look at me like I'm crazy because I have on shorts and a tank top no matter what the temperature is outside. But I'm a big dude. I was just built differently. It is what it is. Jay Bell says White, D'Lo, and KD is still fresh in folks' minds. So look, D'Lo and KD were definitely liabilities. I'm not sure why. That is a glaring mistake that he made, taking those two over the two guys that I know he could have had. Let me see if I can pull that up real quick. If I can't, then we won't really. We'll pull a Cody. We'll do a reverse Cody Rhodes, and we won't talk about it. But look, I'm trying to pull it up. Maybe I'll find it in a second. But absolutely, look, all great points. I'm not going to sit here and try to convince you that I'm right and you're wrong. That's never my MO to begin with. I know a lot of people like to do that on social media. I'm not one of said people. I'll keep looking for it while we're sitting here. But I absolutely can rock with Kenny for the rest of the year and next year. I'm not against that. It'll be a ghost town downtown unless they knock down several wins in a row to start the year. Folks' minds are already made up. I'm glad you brought that up, Jay, because that's something else that I absolutely want to acknowledge. If you listen to social media, they'll tell you nobody's at the games. There was a lot of people at the game last night. Were the seats full? All full? No. But there weren't just 2,000 fans like a lot of your social media nut jobs will lead you to believe. We went to 6 different restaurants last night. None of them had less than a 90-minute wait except for the Troll Pub, and we finessed our way in front of line there accidentally on purpose. So for those people that want to tell you that downtown is dead on game day, they're just trying to fit their own little narratives because it's not dead down there. It is very, very much alive. Let's see. Somebody, let's see. Our guy Welch. Oh, absolutely. Just sent me a plate of, I think it's pork chops, green beans, and corn. To want to come over for lunch, bro? Say less. I'm getting back on my diet too. I got my 9-month checkup was this past week. No. Mick is not the pick, BBH. Stop tweeting me. Mick is the pick. Mick's not the pick. He should never be the pick. I love you. I have kept your identity under wraps, but I will not stand for this kind of harassment and slander. Mick is not the pick. Mick should never be the pick. Mick is a prick, actually. And I just did. If y'all can't tell, I did not have a whole lot of great interactions with him when he was here the first time. Was kind of a, what's the word I'm looking for? Douche. Yeah, let's say it like that. Douche. So Mick's not the pick. I'm
Ain't
not even
like 11 and 12.
What's that?
Ain't they like 11 and 12 anyways?
Like that. So here's the two guys. Chris Bell, he's currently on the roster of Syracuse that we could have had instead of Danilo. He is not really sure what he's averaging now, but when I took the screenshot, he was averaging 12 points and 4 boards a game. And then Keyshawn Hall for George Mason, 6'7" guard. At this point, he was averaging 16, 10, and 2 and shooting 50% from the field. Absolutely, you would have took those two over the two that you did take any day. But what's up, Lee? Lee in the building. Absolutely, Donnie, one of the best crowds all season. It was like that for the Duke game, and it was like that for the NC State game, and it's been like that the last 4 or 5 games that I've been down there. It's not as dead. It's not as desperate. A lot of those seats that we're losing money on have already been paid for. Yeah, UCLA is 11 and 11, exactly. It was a great crowd. I live in the bottom of Kentucky. Wish I lived in Louisville. We wish you did too, man. Definitely need more people. If y'all ever need tickets to the game, hit me up. I will get you in touch with people that can get you tickets for a cheap or free price. However it is, like I'm all for helping the basketball team and helping facilitate this. I just want to see good Louisville basketball again, and we saw it last night, and we hope that we can sustain that. Saw a lot of people out, even people walking. We were leaving the arena last night, and this one dude walks up to me and Wes is like, "Bet y'all can't wait to do a show when y'all get home tonight." And we're like, "Oh, you watch?" Yeah, we love what y'all do, all the shows. So we appreciate y'all tuning in to Live with 55. Appreciate y'all tuning in to CSZ. Saw my guy Dan Furman, 502 Circle down there. Always appreciate the love we get from him. He come up to us where we were sitting at and let us know that the Louisville live streams will be. They had some staffing changes up there at the 502 Circle, so the live streams kind of took a back seat for a few, but they will be back here in the near future, hosted by your boy, Jeremy Wyman. I'll be there, and I'll be representing you all. Y'all have any questions I'll make sure I tweet out who the athletes are going to be that week. Y'all have any questions for those athletes? Right now, we're getting into baseball, softball, those type things, so I anticipate we're going to have a lot of those baseball and softball players on the Louisville live stream, brought to you by the 502 Circle in the Ravon Sports app. That's how you do that. That's called a promo. Wes, you got it? Okay. All right. That was Wes. So Brad Harris says it's because the old folks aren't in there just sitting down. The real fans are in there trying to will a win. Absolutely. And that's another thing I don't think a lot of people think about when they talk about the attendance being down. I'm not sure it's much better if we have 20 wins right now, just because it's so expensive to get in, get parked. The parking garage where we park at is a couple blocks away from the Yum, and it was still $20 to park. Like, I don't know a lot of people that work 9 to 5. Just gonna make sure Wes never gets on the show again. Yeah.
There he is.
All right, I'm leaving you in the sport.
Obviously,
Come on, man. I need you to get better than what is that the Fisher Price broadband you got over there? And he's frozen. Or either that or we need to make this a meme. That look he's giving us right now needs to be a meme.
Yeah, that picture says 1,000 words.
You say something stupid to us. Hold on, let's see if we can get it real quick for it.
Oh,
Jack in. Dag on it. Come on, Wes. We're just trying to get a meme, and you had to mess
about my connection won't work.
I'm sorry. But absolutely hit the like button while you're in here. You hit subscribe. You will get notifications every time we go live, whether it's a scheduled show like our normal Sunday shows, and we'll talk about that in a second before we hop off here, or one of these shows, the Live with 55s. Sometimes we're just sitting around and we're bored and we're like, hey, y'all want to hop on? Bet. And we do it. So it is what it is. We enjoy your all support. We appreciate it. You can become a premium subscriber on YouTube. Just pull up our channel, which is Cardinal Sports Zone. It's youtube.com/Cardinal Sports Zone 55. Hit the subscribe button. There's different layers. Just let us know you signed up, and we'll make sure you get those benefits that you're promised. And if Tanner refers somebody, if Jeff refers somebody, they get a cut too. So let's all eat together. That's all I got to say about that. Shout out to all our sponsors we got coming up, especially our guy Paul out at Mossy Oak Properties. He is the sponsor of the text line for both Live 55 and the CSZ podcast. As I mentioned before, we've been waiting on the 200th episode of the CSZ podcast. Excuse me, for about a month now, waiting for a certain individual to finish up their NFL. We thought it'd be over with by now. It just ended last weekend, and we are happy to announce, first off, that Teddy Bridgewater is the new head coach of football at Miami Northwestern. Give it a clap it up, and I'll myself. I don't care. And last but not least, guest number 200 on the Cardinal Sports Zone podcast is none other than former Louisville quarterback and Louisville forever great Teddy Bridgewater. So we'll have him on the show. Trying to work with him on a schedule. It may not even be on a Sunday. There you go. See, other people clap. Wes.
That's a big deal.
I don't want your pity claps. Keep clap. Stop. Let's. T-Well says, let's go CSZ family. Good to see you, Jeff. Go Cards.
What up, T-Wizzy? My dog. Power 10 within.
For sure. Any other topics that y'all want to talk about on the chat line while I kind of put a bow around the rest of the stuff? All right, so chat line, here's your job. Throw some more stuff in there. We'll stay on for a little bit longer. Yes, Lee, from Orlando. Are you coming to us from – you normally say I'm coming to you from Orlando. Are you coming to us from Orlando this time? Or are you kind of like drifting? But y'all come up with – if y'all have any other questions, ask it in the chat while I kind of go to the rest of the guys. Jeff, do you have anything else that you want to talk about today?
I just kind of wanted to get kind of Tanner's opinion, or to elaborate, or to see what he kind of thinks about, because I know I was just thinking about something about the whole Adidas things, and I was kind of thinking like Adidas does pay us a lot of money, more than Nike would ever pay anyone, and I think the reason Tom Jurich made that deal was because when you don't have any like major companies backing you, like Target, Kroger, Walmart, and things like that, you got to find, you know what I'm saying? It was the best deal for us to get to go along with our like small business donors.
I got the West meme and sent it to me. There we go. So prepare to get that meme in our group chats a lot.
But with saying that though, if we was to go, so like I think if we were to go to Nike, even if it's just in basketball, and we're able to get another corporation behind us, that would make up for what Adidas, does and pays for us. So, what do you think about that, Tanner? Like, do you kind of get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to like capital and how much money you have to spend, like to get players. Like at a place like Louisville, having like a basketball budget of $1 million is kind of crazy. If you're considered a top 10 program of all time, I feel like you should have more money than that.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just a weird relationship with Adidas, really. They do good stuff for us, but like the baseball team still needs a new baseball facility. So like, why isn't Adidas stepping in to fund that? It just, I don't know. It just doesn't make sense. And then like people compare, say like Kansas is Adidas and they get all the top players. And it's like, well, Kansas also invented the game of basketball. So they're going to get top players regardless if they're wearing Adidas, Nike, or Levi's. I mean, it's just, that's how it works. But also, too, with Nike, I think what people don't realize is that like all of the infrastructure that they have set up with the AAU circuits attracts like all of the talent. So if you're wanting to get better players, you have to expand your pool of talent to pull from, I feel like. And I feel like Nike has that advantage. And that goes, like, in my opinion, that goes with coaching as well, because all of the coaches that people are recommending to replace KP rely on Nike's infrastructure to pull players from. So,
and that was one of the things that, Tanner, not to cut you off, a great input there. But that's one of the things that we talked about here on this show. I think it was last week, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago. All these Nike guys. How are you going to convince me that these Nike guys could come here and have success at an Adidas school when the Nike guy, Kenny Payne, come here and couldn't get that? I mean, you bring a Will Wade or
and Nolan. Don't forget Nolan, Jeremy. Yeah. He's been a Nike guy at Duke the whole time.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. But like, I'm supposed to think that these Nike guys, Drew Musselman, Will Wade, any of those guys could come here and they wouldn't go through the same turmoil or trials and stuff that KP and Nolan had. No, absolutely. And trust me. And once this is all over, I have so much more I can tell y'all about. But dude, Nolan has been pulling 5 stars left and right. There's just been something about the money that we don't have that's not been able to get us where they needed to be. So absolutely. I don't buy the whole, Scott Drew can come here and do the same thing he did at Baylor, because he's got Texas oil money down there and he's got Nike money. So
yeah, and like also as well, it's like just with the coaches and stuff, like I would love to have, if a move, and then he's gone, if a move needed to be made, I would love to have like a guy like Todd Golden at Florida or Will Wade, but those are both, well, one's currently at an Under Armour school, but he was at Nike before, and then Golden's at a Jordan brand school. So it's like the coaches also have ties. I mean, it's been made obvious with Kenny's time at Kentucky. He very clearly had ties with Nike, but those coaches also have ties with all the AAU circuits as well. So it's a tough position to be in, I feel like, no matter who the coach is.
Absolutely. And that's something that Kenny's not really got the benefit of the doubt for. I mean, he laid it all. If you listen to his intro presser, he laid everything out for us. It was going to get worse before it got better. He needed us. He needed us to have his back. It was going to be bad. And like a lot of people, oh, whatever, we'll still get every 5-star on earth. I was one of them. I thought we were going to, and also, okay. Also, it just like I was not fully aware of the downfall of Kenny's friends like fighting against him at the beginning. So I didn't know all that was going to go down like that. But absolutely. T. Will wanted to get our thoughts on how KG played last night. Also, Mike James turnovers. I don't know how many turnovers Mike had, but I know that he got to the basket whenever he wanted to. He didn't he had a whole lot of moments. And he had about 30 members of his family sitting right there in the corner that I feel like he was trying to, show out for. But it wasn't anything different than you see from Mike James as far as driving to the basket. He's one of our most dependable guys when it comes to scoring and all that. He just had a bunch of shots that were this close to going in and didn't. But no, I don't know how many turnovers he had.
I think.
While you're looking that up, Jay says, have y'all taken a look at the schedule the rest of the way? That's what we were going to talk about real quick. For the month of February, Mike had 6 turnovers. Okay. Yeah. So a lot of turnovers, but when you're trying to put a team on your back and you're not sure anybody else can do it, that's going to happen. So yes, here's the schedule going the rest of the way. Syracuse, similar record to Florida State. We're at Syracuse. We host a 10-12 Georgia Tech team here next Saturday. Then we go to Boston College, a similar record to Florida State, not unbeatable. Pittsburgh, similar. These all these teams, when I say similar, they're all 13-8, 14-8. Go to Pitt. We've always had a lot of success at the Peck until the recent years. Then we host 7-15 Notre Dame the next Saturday, and then we travel to Duke. Now, Duke's the only game I don't think we have a chance of winning. The other games, I fully believe, and that's not Homer Jeremy. That's just like, if we play like we did last night, we should win all those games but Duke. And then we fast forward to the month of March. We host Syracuse, 14-8 Syracuse. Then we host 13-9 Virginia Tech, which we almost beat the first time at their place, and then end off the season hosting 13-8 Boston College. So not an impossible schedule there to finish off the season. I'm just checking these other messages. So that, yeah, we have taken. I have already looked at the schedule. That's why I said we needed to win 7 out of 9, because I don't think there's a chance we beat Duke, even though we played them close here. That's a whole different beast. Nolan and Jesus can have the scout on that one, and I'm not sure.
I think we can beat Duke, Jeremy.
Oh God! You know what? We can beat them all.
I hate to say it. I mean, I'm just saying because it is. Duke's defense is terrible this year. And not only that, they don't have any rim protectors, and we are good at getting to the rim. I think Brandon can do a good job on Cal, but I also think the reinforcement of having Manny to back him up, and then now you can rotate KG, and I hate to say it, Zan Payne at the 4, which gives you more defense. So I think we got a better chance next at Duke than we all think. And last time we beat Duke, I think, wasn't it at their crib?
It could have been, and we didn't play them that bad here.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Nolan had them ready. He had the scout. He had everybody in the positions they needed to be in for us to win that game. We just didn't have we ran out of gas down the stretch. Ransdale family says Sunday session. All right, then. Happy Sunday, y'all. God bless. We appreciate you. Welch says that Wes has that McDonald's internet. That's not fair. McDonald's internet's very consistent.
Way better. Way better.
Way better. Like, you could be driving by McDonald's in the middle of Alabama for no reason. Your internet's going to connect when you drive by it. Just, it's phenomenal internet. Red State says MJ killed it on the free throw line. And our sponsor, Hey Crew, wanted to say hi and jump on and off real quick. Always a great show. We appreciate your support. If it wasn't for companies and great people like you, we wouldn't be able to have expanded to a second show And with the Louisville Live Stream popping back up here in a few weeks, I'll have 3 of them. So I'm looking forward to getting busy, starting to feel a little better. So it is what it is. Wes, anything you want to address before we hop off here other than clothesline and Xavier?
I mean, I've been wanting to clothesline him the whole time, but not really. I think it's been a while since I've been on here, so I got to brush up on everything before I have any other questions after this. But next time I come on, I have more insight on how I feel about certain things and stuff like that.
Wes, I'm gonna need you to do better. Oh, here we go.
All right, I got to work.
Man, we almost had another meme. You froze for about a half a second. It was better than the first meme. Tanner, what about you? Anything else you want to talk about before we hop off here?
Yeah, I just thought I feel like I know it kind of falls into a moral victory category, but I feel like this year compared to last year, especially in terms of the eye test, is a lot better on offense too. Because last year it felt just like it was Ellis, go make a play. If you can't, maybe get to Mike James and see if he can make a play. And then occasionally Jalen Withers, go make a play. And then that was it. But like having all those guys score almost 20 points last night or more, I feel like the offense is more balanced. And I feel like you can sell that to recruits because it's not just 1 or 2 guys that are your 20-point per game scores. It's like 3 or 4 guys on any given night can go get like 29 points. So I feel like they are passing the eye test from year 1 to year 2.
I will say this for our guy Jay Bell, which by the way, shout out to him. He's been doing some work behind the scenes a little bit more often on the sports media side. Proud of him. But one thing I'll disagree with him, he said this team looked a lot like last year's team. Last year's team couldn't have scored a basket on their own moms other than L. Ellis. L. Ellis was pretty much and Mike. You had 2 options, and as Tanner just said, we've got multiple options. And KG, to kind of follow up on, was it T. Will that asked about? I thought KG did a phenomenal job last night. He had a couple putback dunks where he was in the right position. For those of y'all that say, "Oh, they're not being coached," like Nolan and them told them where they needed to be for maximum success. It's been a shame that it's taken this long for a lot of them to listen, because as much as you just want to blame the coaching staff, those players got to get out there and execute themselves. So I think KG did a phenomenal job last night. I think that we had a bunch of players that played out of there. Zan even played okay. He drew that technical foul where he kind of flopped. I'm okay with it. We got it, but he flopped really, really bad at the end of that one. And then he took a charge later in the game and pivotal possessions that ended up to us getting points on both of those, even though we only got 1 point from the technical foul. I think we shot free. I think we did get the ball after that and go and score. So we scored points off of both of those possessions. Well, it says this team is a lot better than last year's. I agree with that. Because our Sidney Curry, we don't have a Sidney Curry this year. There's nobody you could compare to him. Jalen, there's not really anybody you could compare to him. We have 2 guys that are more talented than them, and I love them to death. They know it. So this team is a lot better talent-wise, but I think maybe what they were talking about when comparing it to last year is just the same results and the same body language and stuff like that. Carrito in the building. If you could keep any players from the current roster for next season, who would you keep? Great question. And I'll answer that before we hop off here. Shout out to Uncle Larry, who's in the building watching. Jay Bird, what's good? Lee from Orlando, always appreciate. I'm coming down there to visit sometime soon, so we'll have to link up. Jay Bell says if we were a mid-100 team in defense, we would have a better winning record and look a little bit close. Oh, absolutely. I don't have this. You know what? I do have an outro. I lied to you. I forgot I got one this week. Yoda. Not ready to stop talking yet, though. So you know me. Like, I try to be quiet, but I just can't be quiet. It's just part of me.
Got to get the people what they want.
Got to. Oh, Wes Keys. That name sounds familiar. Rito is the president of the Zampane fan club. Thank you, loyal viewer Wes Keys. But if you keep any that's why I put that up there. Yes, Jay, if we were mid 100s, I've not had any issues with our offense this year. It's been our defense. If we were just 6 points better every game on defense, we'd have 5 more wins right now, probably. I don't know. That's exaggeration. Heat of the moment. But things would be a whole lot closer if we stopped 4 or 5 more baskets a game only than we are right now. Last night we made stops when we needed to make stops. That's how it needs to look going the rest of the way. To answer your question, Carito, if you keep any of the players from this current roster for next year, now it's cheating a little bit because I know the guys that are coming in next year potentially. And all this really balances on, is Kenny Payne here? Is he not? If he is here, okay. If he is here next year, you keep Caleb, you keep Curtis, you keep Tyler, you keep Sky, you try to keep Mike, even though Mike's done pretty well for his stock, that I think a big name's going to come calling for him. And as long as we're not winning at the level we should, we're going to get poached. I think Mike's going to get poached. Who else am I forgetting anybody? I don't think I'm forgetting anybody else that I would keep. Manny would have to get better exponentially over the summer for me to keep him. If it's not Kenny, then I don't know. It'd be a whole different story. I'll do my best not to miss another one, says Wes Keys. Well, I don't know that you're invited for anymore, so there's the difference. Red State says keep Brandon Huntley. Oh, absolutely. I forgot Brandon. Keep Brandon, Manny, Tyler, Caleb, Curtis, James. So he wants to keep everybody except for Trey White, which I didn't mention Trey White either because he's got to get more consistent for me.
Is there a chance that Brandon could go be a second-round draft pick? Because he's put up numbers against like some pretty good competition this year, like against projected draft picks.
If he would play the way he has these last 8 games, every game, there's no doubt he's a second-round draft pick. I still think he needs another year, though, to get his confidence up because he's one of the guys that I have been told by redacted, I'll use the word redacted, that he has stage fright. And that's a weird thing for a high-level basketball player to have, is stage fright. But his confidence has been building things up, and I feel like he's getting more comfortable out there. And if he left, I'd be okay with it because I believe he can be an NBA player. He's going to be right there. I don't know why I'm coughing so much. He's going to be right there at the position to where he could be a 3 or a 4. And a very athletic 4 at that. And you saw him step out and shoot the 3. And you see how he rebounds. So I think right now he's a second-round draft pick from what we see. Does that translate into what we see the rest of the way? I don't know. Red State says, I just think Manny has a lot of upside. I feel like we've just scratched the surface. I don't disagree. Carito says, I think we should keep the entire young core except Manny. Try to keep BHH. Look, if Kenny comes back, the blueprint was everybody was coming back except for one player. And that one player that was being assumed that would leave would be JJ because he's going to be 47 when the season starts next year. And they were going to try to recruit one guy, Carter Knox, and then grab some bigs and stuff through the the transfer portal, and this way do it the right way. I'm down for what I just want Louisville to be. I want Louisville basketball to be Louisville basketball again, and really I don't get into the whole my life's over with if Louisville loses a basketball game. No, I still have to come home to my wife. I've still got my mom to worry about. I've still got outside stuff, my own health. Like, if Louisville beats Duke by 3 at the buzzer, am I going to be happy? Absolutely. If they lose at the buzzer, am I going to be upset? About 10 minutes, and then I'm going to go try to figure out what I need to do to get better for the next day. So It is what it is. Corrido's just laughing at us because we do act. I told Wes asked me before the show. He's like, I need to know what the breakdown is for Live with 55. Is it as serious as CSC? I said, or can Xavier be on the camera? I was like, oh, Xavier could be on camera. We just act full on Live with 55. Just don't use any of the big curse words, and we're all good.
Look, I done been suspended already on the other podcast. I don't need that.
Yeah, has been suspended for cursing, but the good part is that's back when we didn't do them live, so I could edit it out. So it really wasn't too bad at that point. So let's see. Justin Welch is sending me screenshots. Oh no, more screenshots of Wes's meme. Golly,
I gotta make people laugh any way I can, huh?
Lucy, come here. That's the door. You can't go behind the door, Blondie. There you go. Sorry, Lucy's having some vision issues. All right. Well, I think that's all we got for today. Go ahead for me, Jeff, and tell everybody where they can find you on social media.
You can find me, Jeff Leff, at Dexman, DEXMANN, get 'em GETEM. You can find me at Dexman58 on Instagram. And if you're feeling froggy on YouTube, just search Dexman, GSCITV.
There you go, Tanner. Let them know where they can find you at.
Yeah,
Social media, and I don't want you to give your address or anything, but like on where they can find your work.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter/X.com at Tanner Hickman, the letter E, and that's it. It's just simple. Tried to make it as simple as possible.
Okay, and as I said earlier, you can find his work when they ask him to on thestateoflouisville.com. One of the rising up and comers, if you will, in the local game. And Wes, last but definitely not least, tell them where they can find you at.
Oh, you can find me on Twitter.
Wes B _ you cut out on
That
us,
was it.
Wes. Wes B _42.
Oh, West B.
All right. Well, I guess we're
Me too.
yeah, got you. Make sure you hit that like button. I don't know why, but it is what it is. Robert Holt, premium subscriber Robert Holt says, "What's up, good people? Haters are gonna hate. Let's just enjoy the MF ride." Okay. Well, with that being said, as Yoda would tell us, he tells us to hit that fire outro, so we're gonna do that. Till next time, this has been Live with 55, part of the Cardinal Sports Zone Podcast Network. Hit the video, Sean.
We hold the throne. We throw the mails and you take them home. When they ring the bells, you know that it's home. The bar is set, we setting the tone. If we set it, then set it in stone. Now sit in the seat and set up your phone.